Well, folks, here we again for the weekly forecast. This last week we dealt with several precipitation events. The first precipitation event was in the first half of last weekend. That system rolled through across southern Nebraska, exited the state, and then we've seen fairly dry conditions for the remainder of the weekend into most of the day Monday before we started to see some shower development across the northern portions of the Sandhills, basically in a northwest flow. These scattered showers continued into Tuesday during the prime heating of the day. Very widespread, doesn't have a lot of coverage and a lot of moisture associated with them. Then a more complex system moved across northern Kansas on Wednesday. That developed some severe weather in the southwest, and we did see some decent precipitation totals come out of portions of south central Nebraska, generally in the 1/4 inch to 1.5 inch range, and then isolated convection across the southern half of the state on Thursday and Friday. As we go into this weekend, it looks to be fairly dry. But before we get to that main forecast, let's take a look at what happened during the month of May for precipitation. Heaviest precipitation across the eastern part of the state, generally 2 to 6 inches, commonly reported, isolated 10-inch amounts. In the Panhandle, a lot weaker in terms of precipitation, but remember, this was the area that was hit by the April 30th through the May 1st snowstorm and precipitation events, so most of the moisture that we're not showing on this map was actually on the last day of April. In terms of what's going on presently, we have a ridge in the upper atmosphere with a weak northwest flow, basically just to our northeast, with low pressure still sitting over the western Great Lakes, and a trough that's trying to make its way onshore in the western United States. So we have high pressure within the Central Plains region over the Rockies, and most of the moisture associated with today will be to the south of us, maybe an isolated shower across portions of Nebraska. And as we go into tomorrow, the ridge tries to build a little bit farther east, sharpens a little bit in response to that trough building to our east. So we have high pressure at the surface. That should keep the moisture well to our south and to our east. Looks like a really nice day on Sunday, very warm seasonable temperatures. And as we get into Monday, the ridge starts to build even farther toward the north. That causes a much sharper troughing pattern. We see low pressure trying to develop at the surface, and in response to that, we do see the possibility of showers across the northern Rockies and isolated convection all the way across the eastern seaboard. We see a flattening of that ridge on Tuesday as this upper air low tries to make its way across southern Canada. That may actually induce some showers across the northern United States, and some of that may actually impact Nebraska as we see this trough moving across. I think that this is going to be fairly weak in terms of precipitation returns in eastern Nebraska. More importantly, though, as we get into Wednesday, we get a pretty strong northwest flow in the upper atmosphere on the front side of that ridge, and we do expect to see a more organized and concentrated area of precipitation develop from the southern Canada all the way down to Texas, and then that will move to the east and weaken over time. On Thursday, the ridge tries to start to move and build eastward. We see low pressure organizing to our south at the surface, so the precipitation associated with this area low pressure system will remain just to our south, a little bit farther movement, and we'll see that precipitation coming into southern Nebraska. On Friday, now we get a full movement of this ridge toward the east as a trough starts to make its way in. That will start to generate low pressure on the lee side of the Rocky Mountains, both to the south and to the northwest of us, and so we will start to see precipitation breaking out across the southern plains, and a lot of that will start to lift as we go into the weekend toward the central plains. The 8 to 14-day forecast keeps the cold air to the east, warm to our west. In terms of precipitation, with that big area low pressure coming in, I expect that we will see a large expanded area of above normal moisture in the central plains.